Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Soo, your 2022 Oakland mayoral candidate, and soon I'll be changing this channel as the mayoral election continues down. But I'm going to change this channel to your Oakland community advocate. And so I'm going to be continuing on my work here in East Oakland and throughout Oakland with different programs that I'm going to be introducing in the new years. In fact, I'm going to let you in on some early things that are happening right here. As you see behind me, it's pretty darn clean, and all the way down the street. So we're actually going to take a little walk down the street. I'm right outside of 877th Avenue, and as you know, back on the 4th of this month, we had a big deep cleaning, and with that, we were able to remove a lot of the nuisances that was causing a lot of challenges here in the camp. And by removing those nuisances and allowing this camp to manage itself. This is a self-governing Oakland sanctuary camp. We can control who comes in, who goes out, and what we actually do. And so what we've done is restored a safe place for folks to come to, where they can park in their vehicle overnight, or ask for a space so that they can perhaps set up a shelter. And one of the things that we went back to was that you have to be looking for housing, seriously looking for housing, because that's what this camp does. We help stabilize individuals that have been devastated and traumatized. We get them settled in. We assist them with a lot of the small things until they become somewhat self-sufficient, and we start introducing them to the different housing options that are readily available for folks here in this community. And so for the past 13 days, I have been getting nothing but compliments day and night from the neighbors, the residents of the neighborhood, the businesses here. In fact, this morning at 3 a.m., I was out walking my dog, and one of the truckers really gave me a great compliment. He said, "You're doing a great job." Gave me a big fist bump and said, "Keep it up." So it feels good to be recognized by the businesses and the residents here. And they know that I'm working in their best interest, and also the best interest of the camp and the residents that may be staying here. And so we are one of the least problematic encampments in all of Oakland. And so I'm going to turn this around, and then we're going to take a walking tour 13 days later after the deep cleaning here in 77th Avenue Rangers community. Okay, right now we have all the trash picked up, all the stolen vehicles removed, stripped vehicles removed, burned up trailers removed, and burned zones cleared. And so this is a big deal right here, because this is the truck turnaround. You see how big this is. Yeah. And I'm going to step up here on the curb and look back at the business across the way. So you see it's a long distance, and this end of 77th Avenue is the big truck turnaround, because sometimes we have large 53-foot trailers come down here, and they need all of this, plus the driveway here at Lakeside. That's the recycling. So it's important keeping this area clear, and we got rid of those nuisances. One was a trailer that was right here that set a flame by an arsonist, and it burned everything. You can still see the damages on the fence there from how intense the heat was. And we cleared out everything, literally. Took 2 days to get this place really cleared out, but we do have a few residents still here, and we're working with some of them. And then also there are some that are already housed, and they come here and create sometimes some issues within the community. But it's nice when they leave in the evening, and they always come back clean. So we know that they're indoors somewhere, they're changing clothes, they're showering. So that's why they don't ask for any kind of help, and they don't want any help. They have mental issues or drug addiction issues or both. And so they come out here because a lot of times the families throw them out of the house. They just need a break from the craziness and the drama and things that are constantly caused. So anyway, back here, what I'm doing, you've been seeing this frame that I've been working on. I've really been distracted with the Mayoral campaign, but that's actually part of a roof that I'm going to be creating for the first part of the tiny home for myself. And this is the upper portion of the roof, and so it's going to be completely covered in solar panels and enclosed walls and doors, windows. And then after that is constructed, and then I move a lot of the components, the solar components, into the secured new tiny home there, and plus my bedroom, I'll be able to expand and start removing that flimsy shelter, which is weak and very noisy and very drafty and very cold with the upcoming winter. And I'll be creating a 25-foot long by 10-foot wide tiny home right here, which will be butted up against the 160 square foot room that'll hold all the electronics. I'm separating out all the solar electronics because all the cooling fans, the noise that's generated with the MPPT controller and power inverter is once I get things all established, there's going to be 3 inverters, so that's going to be really noisy just by itself. And then there's going to be I'm targeting 7,000 kilowatts of input solar power, but I may just drop it down to about 5,300. So all of that, what you're looking at there, will be all framed in, plus it'll be on top, and on top of that will be all the solar panels. And then once I get this section fixed up and roofed in, then the remainder, it's going to be about 16 additional solar PV panels that'll go on top of that section of roofing, and that'll get me about 5,300 watts of solar electricity, which will be stored into the battery system and for immediate use in the event I run my microwave or air fryer or anything that I want to use. And so this will be once my next project in my PATH program is establishing a tiny home village here in Oakland on community land trust property. And I've already already been entrusted with a piece of property, and so it's being held in trust right now until I get everything, all my foundation trust, 501c3, all in place and a board in place. And then that will be funded in the new year through a lot of different mechanisms that will be attached to that. And so the income will go directly to that legal instrument rather than to me. One, it shelters me from all the taxes and also unnecessary people showing up at my door begging for money. Through a foundation trust, it's impossible for them to do anything. And even if I got into some legal issues, while they can sue the holy hell out of me, they can't collect a dollar. So that's what I have set up in place. And a lot of folks say, well, you're not really planning for the future. Let me turn this around here. They're saying, Derrick, you are not planning for the future. Well, you're right, because a lot of you know that when one starts living homeless, just living 2 years out here on the street can shorten your life by as much as 25 years and as little as 15. I'm 62 right now, and so if you added 15 years, I'm at the end of my life. And in fact, I have a lot of health issues going on right now, and a lot of you know that that respiratory issue that I have, because you hear it in my voice occasionally, and you've seen me all through my videos with a pretty serious cough at times, and that's because of AB&I Foundry. For the longest time, they lied about their emissions, what they were emitting into the neighborhood air, and how the reason why they weren't caught was because the agencies testing the air would send out a notice to AB&I Foundry, we're going to be testing air in your area, and we're just notifying you of what we're doing. And so what AB&I Foundry would do, they would shut down operations for that period so that they had no emissions. So it appeared that they were complying and in compliance with all the federal clean air regulations, and they weren't. So, and then we have one mayoral candidate who really loves and supports AB&I, even though they're killing our neighbors and our children in deep East Oakland. And then this past week, we've had a lot of issues with the political election process. A whole bunch of us, Oakland mayoral candidates, were disqualified from the November 8th ballot because of confusing and conflicting information that the office gave us, all of us. And so we're going to be doing a big thing with Zinni 62 Media. In fact, I'm going to be on live later today. Today is Wednesday, the 17th. This is technically the last day for filing for a mayoral candidacy on the November 8th ballot. But yet they closed the door last Friday, August 12th. And so our argument was that everybody in the office there, when we were handed our packets, we were given a lot of information over the counter, in person, face to face, and allowed to ask questions about things. And so the main focus that all of us who are not politically savvy, we'll say, because we haven't been through an election process, or we have been through an election process. But Oakland is so crooked, the process is that they at times appear to be giving intentionally wrong and bad information, and then they lie to you, because as you know, back in 2019, when I first filed my paperwork to become Oakland mayoral candidate, they had my email address, and through the whole 3 years, I've had nothing but issues with only that office on emails. So it's like they don't take me seriously. Oh, he doesn't need the information. He's not a real candidate. And so, and talking with some of the other lesser known candidates like Melissa Victory, Peter Liu, Albert Owens, and a few others, we all have had issues with emails. And the Political Ethics Commission, which is very unethical, it appears, and the city clerk's office, another issue over there, where they gave a whole lot of people bad information and the wrong information. And then they even went to the pages and said, this is what we're talking about. And that was one of the things that I brought up. So I'll be talking on Zenny 62 Media, Oakland News Now, later today, about 2 o'clock this afternoon. And it'll be on YouTube. So you should be able to go over to YouTube, look for Zenny 62 Media, and you'll probably see the link for the waiting room. But I'll be on there later today talking with my friend Zenny Abraham about the process, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things that have been going on, not just to me, but all the other candidates and their experiences. So this is going to be an interesting broadcast this afternoon, and if you happen to miss it, I'll provide the link right here so that you can also see it. Thanks for joining me today. We'll be right back.